Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to participate here. I got to unfortunately contradict my colleague from Michigan, Mrs. Dingle, in that in your opening statement you mentioned that hunting, deer in Michigan hasn't suffered under the wolf, and that's not really the case in my district. There's been a dramatic drop in the deer population and in the hunting results as well. As a matter of fact, they canceled the doe permits, in my district last year. I want to ask Mr. Gerten a couple questions. How would you categorize the status of the gray wolf population in the western Great Lakes region right now?
The Fish and Wildlife Service view of the population of wolves in the western Great Lakes is that they are recovered, Congressman. There are over 3,600 wild animals in the 3 states, and we wrote a rule to delist those animals and remove Endangered Species Act protection and return management to the state. That rule was overturned on judicial review. The Department of Justice is appealing that overturning in a hearing that is set to begin oral arguments in.
What was the number used? 3,600? Is that what you said?
Yes, Congressman.
Okay.
In the 3 states.
In the opinion of the Fish and Wildlife Service, what's the impact of the continued federal management of the gray wolf population in the western Great Lakes region, both on the wolf population itself and the greater ecosystem?
Do you mean the biological
Lack of
impact?
not being able to manage the wolves.
Well, under the Endangered Species Act protections, the federal agencies ourselves are the primary jurisdictional agency to manage all issues arising, whether it's recovery actions or whether it's depredation issues. We build a strong rapport and working relationship with the state fishing game agencies at the same time. We've worked with them in partnership. Over the last year, over 200 wolves were removed from that population for depredation-related issues that were authorized under their status.
All right. Now, Dr. Vucetich, is that how you say it, Vucetich?
Vucetich.
Vucetich, okay. Well, hey, welcome. I'm Michigan Tech, of course, is in my district, and I've visited many times, so it's a pleasure to see you, and I'm happy to hear of your expertise with the wolf. Can you give me an estimate of the impact of the gray wolves and the population, the deer population in the UP?
Yeah, it's not. It hasn't been demonstrated that wolves are negatively impacting deer in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Well, I got to tell you that sort of differs from my experience. I have a place in the Ottawa National Forest. I'm sure you're very familiar with that, and I represent, maybe not everywhere in Michigan, but in the western Upper Peninsula of Michigan, there are no deer left. I mean, like I said to Ms. Dingle, they canceled the doe season last year
yes,
because there are no deer, and that's the problem. So I'm not. I get this from my constituents. Okay, I mean, it's not like I'm making this stuff up, because I get people coming to me complaining about the fact that there's nothing to hunt. Let me just go on a little bit. I want to talk about this lawsuit a little bit. You talked about this. What is it? A DPS? I can't even quite remember the term there. Like population,
distinct
locale.
population. Distinct population segment is.
Distinct population segment, and that one of the bases of the court decision was that since the gray wolf is not returned to its entire habitat, that's one of the bases of overturning the decision to delist the wolf. Is that my understanding of?
No, I don't think that's a fair description of what the judge's decision was. And the judge's decision was complicated, but in a nutshell, what I believe that it's related to is a requirement by the Endangered Species Act, which suggests, not in legal terms, but in layman's terms, that a species needs to be well distributed throughout its former range. And
yeah, but see, that part I don't understand, because, like, for example, the city of Detroit in Wayne County was the former wolf range. So then we're not going to treat it as recovered if Wayne County is no longer populated with wolves? I mean, I don't understand what you're going to use as the new range that the wolf is there. I mean, there's lots of wolves in the UP, I'll tell you that.
No, there's no requirement, and no one has ever suggested that there's a requirement for a species to occupy all of its former range. That's never been suggested by anyone who studies the problem. But what is clear from congressional intent and from a series of judicial decisions is that it seems that a species needs to be, and again, some of these things are difficult because they have not been sorted out adequately, and so I know I'm using the term loosely, but well distributed throughout its former range. If we can refer to what the law says is that a species is at risk of extinction throughout all or a significant portion of its range. That's the definition of endangered, and you're not recovered until you no longer fit that definition.
I'm out of time, but I would enjoy talking to you more about this issue, so thank you.
Thank you.